Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows.
We're
I'm joined,
back.
I'm joined by regular host, Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, it's been a while. Have you missed me?
Yeah, I've missed you, mate. Of course, I've missed you. Bill says, "Are you in the US now?" No, I'm not, mate. No, I'm still here. You can see, if you can see around me, you just see boxes and stuff. This room's a
Oh, at
complete
that
tip,
stage.
but I've tried to just angle it into a corner where you can't see what's going on. But yeah, I'm very good, mate. Good to see loads of the OGs jumping into the chat. CH, of course, was first in, saying welcome back, Chasers. Well done. Yeah, all the same old faces are jumping in. So I'm sure right now everybody's just trying to establish themselves with the game, mate, and what we've got coming up for the next month.
Yeah, man, absolutely buzzing.
Is it
Hello.
a good game, mate? Just go straight in. Is this going to be a good game?
It's a really good game. I think it's such a good game. FPL might even take inspiration on one or two tweaks. Not all of, definitely can't be all of them because it's a game which requires more engagement. And FPL, of course, over 38 game weeks, don't want the masses to have to be that engaged every match day. But for 7 game weeks or match days, as UEFA call it, you can have that level of engagement, especially because we're watching the football every day. I'm just seeing in the chat, you said some of our OGs are in. So many familiar faces, Dean. It's so nice to see. Chai is in the house, Ryan, CH, Lewis, Fella, Geddy, Sokan, who says England were beaten by a supermarket. Dan, Danny B, Offcore. Hello, team. Hope you're all good. Before we speak about rules and show our first teams, because we're going to be showing you our teams as well. I say first, it's like my 11th team. Let's speak a little bit about the last few weeks, Dean. Like, how are you doing in terms of your Euros prep? Have you gone down the sticker route album route with your boys? I guess you've done tons of research because it's your day job.
Yeah, done loads of research. We've done 3 hours of previews on Ranks FC. So if you want a massive 3-hour fill of previews on every team and decent previews too, and even the likes of Albania, one of our listeners who's an Albania fan was like, "You're the first person to not just literally just forget about us. Everyone just assumes we're going bottom of the group and doesn't even include us in the preview." So we've got in plenty of depth on that. Started planning my fantasy team. Obviously, at the same time, I've had transfers to deal with. So I'm trying to I've been deep in transfer mode and now I'm having to come out of it in the last week to get back into actual football.
Yeah.
So yeah, got all the mags, watched a few shows, listened to a few pods. And yeah, I'm glad it's coming, mate. How about you?
I went to buy a 442 the other day for the wall chart. Well, a couple of weeks ago, and my local supermarket had so many magazines, and it had football ones, like all the kids one. Didn't have a 442, so I don't even have a magazine. I've read nothing other than the stuff I see online on social.
Oh no, 442 is a classic before a tournament, mate.
I know.
That and World Soccer, a must read.
Yeah, I know. It's part of my trouble is I've not been on a flight recently, so I haven't been at an airport to buy one.
Yeah, I had to go to Smith's for mine.
Yeah, exactly. I might still go out and find one. But yeah, all good. Let us know in the chat what wall charts you're going off. It feels necessary to always have a good wall chart in place.
It does.
I've spent far too long in the last few weeks just planning my plans, just looking at Italy really in detail. I don't think I've ever gone into a tournament where I've been able to make content about Italy. So I decided on my own YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I saw some of the YouTubers were dropping Euros content as we are on Chasing Green Arrows throughout the tournament. Today is our first show. And I was like, what should I make my first show about? And everyone's doing how to play the game or their first draft. I was like, nah, I'm going to make a show about how Italy are going to line up. And I did a 25-minute video on my predicted Italy. It was so fun. So I'm just really into it. I'm just so into it more than ever.
That's good.
We've got loads of teams to talk about, which I think we're going to do in more detail tomorrow. If you look at the shirts behind me, Portugal, Germany, Italy, Holland, we need to speak about Belgium, England, France as well. The big nations, we're going to do our top 3 assets on tomorrow's show. So we'll talk about them in more detail. But this show is more by now, many watching will have absorbed quite a bit of content and they'll already know the rules. So we're just going to do top line, rules and scoring and how that can assist you with the game and the differences between FPL. And then we're going to talk about our teams and how we're shaping up. But just top line, Dean, who are you backing for the Euros?
France. It's impossible to look past them, mate. They've got the best players, they got the best kit, they got everything. They got It's they just look so good in terms of depth. Obviously, like they've just drawn 0-0 last night. It's a game that you'd expect them to go and win 3-0. So you're like, well, they might not live up to expectation, but like friendlies, you can't read too much into them, no matter what. Really, I could be saying that because they lost 1-0 to Iceland. Obviously, I didn't expect us to lose 1-0 to Iceland, but like, I don't like Wembley. Wembley friendlies are horrendous occasions, and it was just flat, and I'm just not reading anything into it. But so I don't think England will win the tournament. Might get to the semis and lose to France. But yeah, I think I'm going for a France-Portugal final. That's in my mind where it'll be. Mate, I'm very, very unsure about your Italy team. You've got a lot of convincing to do of me. I think Italy could come bottom of their group, not just not qualify. I think they might come bottom of the group.
I'm not actually optimistic. I mean, I kind of will be on vids and stuff, but I'll always big Italy up, no matter how bad the team is. But yeah, I think quarters is a realistic target. And
my concern for you, mate, is if you don't beat Albania in the first game,
then if we don't beat Albania, we'll probably finish bottom.
You're probably out.
Yeah,
like and that's like because that's your first fixture. And obviously, you shouldn't lose to Albania. But as I said, like people talking about Albania like they're not even in the tournament, not worth talking. They've got some decent players, and the first match, you don't know what standard Italy are going to be playing at, what the motivation is, how they raise their game to play Albania,
how they line up,
like what formation are they going with?
Yeah,
and so my concern for Italy is like if they win that game, then fine, you're absolutely sound. But in our previews, I was like, do you know what? If Italy don't win that first game, I think they'll come bottom of this group.
Croatia are great as well, man. Like Croatia. So who did Croatia beat in a friendly the other day? Was it Germany? Like Croatia,
Portugal,
Portugal. That was it.
Yeah.
So strong. Like
Portugal,
like you, I think could go really far. But the thing that holds Portugal back for me is Roberto Martinez. When I look at the international teams in this tournament, they're all international teams. But when I look at the level of manager, and you compare the level of manager in, say, the Champions League to the level of manager in the Euros. And my God, like Roberto Martinez has managed two of the top teams. Gareth Southgate manages a top team. Like Gareth Southgate is a former Middlesbrough manager. Think of the teams Roberto Martinez managed, Swansea and Everton and whoever. Wigan. I just feel like what Italy have in terms of a strength is the manager. I do think Spalletti, he's gone and won a Serie A title only a couple of seasons ago, and that could play to their strengths. But Portugal, the squad depth, Jota, Neto, João Felix, these guys won't be in the 11. Madness.
Yeah, it's tough. And there's some big calls to make. Like there are some fantasy selections that a lot of us are wanting to make and wanting to pick these players, and the likes of Frimpong. Frimpong looks, watching playing a friendly the other day, looks great down the right, gets assists and goal. And you're like, oh, it looks really good. And then you're like, oh, hang on, he might not be playing. Dumfries might start and he might not play. Yeah. So there's all these sorts of things at the moment and you're guessing. And when you're looking at friendly fixtures and lineups, they're not really a good indicator often of what's to come. So that's the real difficulty with picking this team. Geddy says, "What's Gianni's take on Jorginho for fantasy at 5 mil? Sorry, is he on pens?"
Jorginho, Spalletti was said months back, like, no, he's not on pens. He's missed his last 4 for Italy. He's missed, which goes back to the last Euros. I guess the shootout he missed, didn't he? Pickford saved it or teed it onto the post, I think. He's missed the last 4 for Italy, but Italy, when you look at the 11 and the predicted 11 I've got, I don't think any of them take pens at club level. So I think there's a very good chance Jorginho is on them and he will be on the pitch. Ranks FC in the chat, I'm guessing that's Jack, makes a very good point on Spalletti. He does take a while for his teams to get going and the methods across. And he's changed the formation 1,000 times, like 4-3-3 to 3-4-3 to 3-5-2. He'll go with a 3-5-2 now, and it's almost like a 3-2-5, 3-2-4. Where you'll have a sort of double pivot. I'm hoping of Fajoli, who's been banned all year, and Jorginho, but maybe Cristante comes in alongside him. And then the wing backs for FPL, for fantasy, Cambiasso could be starting. He is a 4 million defender in this game. He could be starting at right wing back. It could be Di Lorenzo and Darmian down the right hand side of defence. But for me, Cambiasso is a gamble willing to take. We'll see my team who may feature Cambia. So Buongiorno is 4.5. He's going to start. There's some real steals in that Italy team, but let's not turn it into an Italy pod because I could so easily do that. Let's get started with the top line of the kind of headlines for the rules. And then I can't wait to see, Dean, your first draft because I know it's going to include a couple of nice differentials that no one's ever heard about.
I don't know about that.
Dean, before I give us the rundown, how much do you know about the rules? How much have you looked into it?
Honestly, mate, until yesterday, I hadn't looked that deep. And I did pick my team without even knowing how the scoring went. So it was just like, okay, what do I already know about fantasy? What works? And who should I be looking at? So naturally, went to the defence, picked one actual centre-back and 4 wing-backs or pushing forward right-backs. And then got a bit of a mix in the middle.
Yeah.
And I went with 2 big forwards and then a smaller name forward that might get good game time and could surprise people. That's how my first draft has been made. But it wasn't until yesterday I started looking to score. And to be honest, not too much changed in that sense. But sounds like, Jorginho, when it comes to ball recoveries and things like that, for how people might collate points, it feels like a pick like him could still be worthwhile, even if not necessarily on pens.
Yeah, when we look at ball recoveries, it includes, I can't remember off the top of my head the definition of a ball recovery, but it includes a lot of things, the interceptions, the blocks, the attack. Anyway, when you look at some of the ball recovery numbers from recent friendlies, good players are clocking sort of 4 to 6 ball recoveries a game. So that's an extra couple of points for the likes of a Jorginho.
Yeah.
FPL Fellow in the chat says, is that Maldini chilling on the snooker table? Close. It's not Maldini. It's actually my boy, Andrea. So yeah, he'll be staying for the Euros. The headline's on screen. You get transfers every round, but it increases. So it starts with a smaller allocation, and then as it gets to the groups, bigger each time. Let's move on away from the more obvious points on headlines and see what we've got coming up next for you. By the way, guys, do hit those buttons. We would love you to like. And if you're new around here, do subscribe. We have got, I think this is one of 10 shows we're doing throughout the Euros.
Yeah.
This is where it gets interesting, Dean. This is why I don't think you could do this with FPL because it's too full on. But this is what's really fun. You can change your captain every single day of each round. So for match day 1, there are 5 different days of fixtures. Therefore, you can make 5 different stick or twist captaincy decisions. I think match day 2 and 3, there's only 4 days of fixtures. So you can change it 4 times. So pretty much you end each day going, yeah, I'm happy with my captain, he can stay. Or you go, I'm going to swap because I went Havertz in the first day. He got 4 points and I'm not happy with that. So I'm going to roll the dice and I'm going to go Scamacca on the second day.
Yeah.
I love that. Once you've made that switch, though, you can't go back to Havertz. What you can do is if Scamacca blanks, you can then go to match day 3 and go, I'm going to go Mbappe or whoever.
Yeah, and it'll help get a good rank if you are tuned into this game because obviously the first week, a lot of people will be tuned into making their subs in between fixtures, in between game days, and that will quickly die off after the initial focus will go from a lot of casuals. So the general game will just be easier to score well in, I think, beyond that first game week. Colm says, making sure your captain choices don't play on the same day as match day 1, 2, and 3 have different sets of teams playing. It is tricky, but at least on the app, there is a thing whereby it just tells you what date each player is playing. Yeah. That is actually, once I saw it, I was like, oh, this makes my life so much easier. I'm going to keep going back to the fixtures. I've just figured it all by date. The players are all in there. I just put the ones that are playing last on the bench and they'll just be subbed in. And obviously you want your captain playing first. On the first day, you want to captain somebody that's actually playing. And then, or the first good player to be playing on the first day. And then you go from there. And obviously you've got a stick or twist as to whether you go with those guys. But yeah, I like that. As you say, it won't work in FPL, but for a tournament like this, we're all going to be watching all the games anyway. So it's another reason for us to be properly stuck into it.
And it's not like the FIFA game, which we had massive issues with in Qatar, Dean, where you could swap captain not only each day, but between each fixture. On a given day, when there was 3 games, if you're out at the pub and you wanted to switch a captain and you couldn't get on the app because the app was often the spinning wheel, I was like, oh, great. I've just ruined the game's ruined for me because it doesn't even fully work. And you had to be too engaged. This is just once per day. At the start of every day or the end of every day, you can go, I'm going to make a sub or I'm going to swap the armband. And as Dean says, your Portugal players who play on the last match day, if you've got Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes, they'll be on your bench. That's fine because they will sub in for those that blank. And that's why players like 4 million Cambiasso, it's probably okay having 1 or 2 punts that you're not 100% sure are guaranteed starters, because you do get the opportunity to bench 3 players that you can roll the dice on and go, I'm going to give them a start. If they don't perform, they don't get the minutes, then they come onto the bench.
Yeah, mine George says, I think it doesn't add anything for the game other than variance, and there needs to be online a lot more. But that's what it will be like. They'll want you to be on the app all the time. They want you to be on their app. And this is encouraging to make sure. I mean, typically, you do go and check your score at the end of every day anyway, if you're actually bought into this game.
Yeah.
So the fact you can actually spend a bit longer on the app and make decisions makes it more interesting. But of course, it's working in their favor too, because they want you to hang around in the app. They want you to look around, watch some highlights, do whatever else, because they obviously like make money off ads and stuff for the longer that you're hanging about. So, yeah, you could look at it pessimistically, but it's just the way of the world now, and they want us on these apps as long as possible.
Yeah, I'm all for it. And when you're building a squad, do spread the chances, do spread the premium assets around. The guys you might want to captain, give yourself more opportunities to get lucky by going, oh, if I do need a captain in match day 1, day 3, who have I got? Who have I got? So spreading your premiums around those days within a match day is another good way of looking at it if you really want to go into
FPL detail. Fella says you can wait for team sheets too, right? So is that right? How long have you got before?
Yeah, so the deadline on match day 1 is literally 8 p.m. So the team sheet will come out at 7 for the Germany game, and we will be able to react to the Germany team news, which is really nice. Obviously, that only works for the deadline of the first kickoff each time.
Yeah.
So do go and look match day 2, 3, who's on the first kickoff. But yeah, you get right up to kickoff. So if, for example, you're like, oh, I want to go Leroy Sané, but I don't think he'll start, you can just have that slot available, and then you've got an hour to make the change.
Nice.
For what it's worth, I don't think Leroy Sané will start. Here's 7 million and a really good option if he was starting. Okay, let's move on from captains and subs. For the following days, fella, the substitutions, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's up to the first kickoff. Chips, yes. This is where it gets a little bit, I think, a little bit too engaged. You get 2 chips over 7 rounds, and you also get an extra wild card, which everyone has to use between groups. So effectively, for 3 of the 7 rounds, you're using a chip, which feels a little bit heavy. But again, as Dean says, they want you spending time on their website and on their app. And if you've got chips, you're more inclined to play. So you can't use those chips in match day 1 because we all start with a new team. And in match day 4, you have to use your wild card, the mandatory wild card. So we have something called a limitless, which is the same as a free hit if you've played FPL, but it comes with unlimited budget, which is a really nice addition. So it's a free hit, but you can go and spend
no holds barred,
120 million instead of 100. And of course, we will be racking up a team with Mbappe, Kane, and Ronaldo as a front 3 because you can.
And when do you think most people are going to be playing that, mate?
I think a lot will play it in the groups, just because the group stages give us the biggest upside for the 4-5, 6-0 wins. If you think you can predict a 4-0 win because you have big team versus small team, you can then go triple Belgium because they're playing Slovakia, or Portugal because they're playing Georgia.
Yeah.
And in match day 3, there's some really nice matchups between big team versus small team. Don't want to patronize any teams there or sound patronizing. But of course, you're trying to target the likes of an Albania or a Georgia or a Slovenia or Slovakia. Of course, you're going to.
What about saving limitless for the final?
Yeah, you could, because it's going to be 2 good teams. I guess for the final, there's a very good chance you will be invested heavily in those 2 teams already. Because
I was just thinking more about the budget side of it and how. I guess how difficult is it to break the budget? Because the players aren't that expensive in this game, are they?
No, I mean, you get Mbappe and Kane are the most expensive, I think, at 11, 11.5. But, Lukaku is 9, Ronaldo 10-ish.
Yeah, they're actually
quite 9.5, Bruno 9.5. It's fine, the budget. I think even for the final, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And we've also got a few gifts. You know, Mark Gahey's going to be a starter now, and he's not priced as a starter, but you can have him in your team.
Yeah.
So I think most will use Limitless in either match day 2 or 3. The extra wild card is interesting. Some are going to use it around the quarterfinal stages. But for me, because you get so many transfers between each round, I don't think you're going to need a wild card in the knockouts. Therefore, my plan, which sounds crazy, is to go match day 1, and a lot are doing this, by the way. Match day 1, you have your new team. Match day 2, your wild card, so you have another new team. Match day 3, you're Limitless, another new team. And match day 4, everyone's got a wild card, another new team. Effectively, I'm having 4 free hits in a row, which means building a team is so easy for match day 1. I'm just going big team versus small team. That's how I'm big, and I'm going to do the same for 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, that's obviously a good approach. I have to say, one thing I am avoiding not doing is going template at all in this game, because it just is. It's stupid too, because nobody knows what we're getting, and people will. I've already seen it start to crop up on my timelines about players you can't miss, or this is, nobody knows, and so just avoid it and go with your gut instincts, and that's the fun of the game. And like, especially as it's only over 7 weeks, like, you've got to trust your instincts here, and it is, everyone's doing this for fun. Like, nobody's like, spending, basing a career on this 7 weeks of the Euros fantasy. Even you are off the hook on this one, mate. That we don't mind how well or badly you do, but it sounds like you've done such excruciating planning to have known all this already, that you're trying to win it.
I really am, but the template. You can't win by playing template in any fantasy game. What I'd say about this game, though, is there is no fixed template at the moment other than 1 or 2 players, because there are so many good options. It's not like FPL where you finish the season, you feel like you have to have Foden, Palmer and Haaland, and you've pretty much got 10 of the same 15 as everyone else. In this game, sure, Mbappe is 77% owned. So everyone does have Mbappe. But then below that, no other player is over 50. And when you look at the forwards alone, you have Mbappe at 77, you have Kane at 47, who I think is the second most popular asset in the game. But then the third most popular forward is Kai Havertz at 16%. Ronaldo, 15%. Lukaku, 15%. You've got Rafa Leao at 10, Chiesa at 9, Griezmann at 7. These are the most popular forwards, and loads of them are under 15%. So when you look at the most popular players in the game, period, it's Mbappe and Kane, as mentioned, then Bellingham at 43, and then everyone else is below 40. Wirtz and Frimpong, 4th and 5th highest owned. Van Dijk is 6th highest owned. Rudiger 7th.
Yeah.
There's no fixed template, which is great.
Well, they were the ones, like, what I'm seeing a lot is like Pickford in goal, Frimpong's in the team, Van Dijk's in the team, Theo Hernandez is in the team, and then you've got a Wirtz or Musiala, then you've got Mbappe and Kane. Like, that's 8 players straight away.
True.
A lot of players are talking about as must-haves, and the selections selected by is starting to suggest that is genuinely what everyone like. Why do you need Virgil van Dijk? Like, I saw how people, like, I've seen a couple of content creators saying, it's hard to look past Van Dijk, but why is it?
I've not even thought about him.
Past Van Dijk, he's £6 million centre back. Like, it's easy to look past him, surely.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Especially if you do get a Frimpong playing out of position at 5.5, just you go for it, or even Dumfries, who will play as a wing back.
Yeah, I'm not saying Van Dijk's going to be a bad pick in this game, because he won't be, but
he's pricey.
They're not exactly the most reliable team in the world, are they, Holland?
True. And especially when you get 4 million defenders at Germany and Italy that could be starting. There's some real gifts in this game. DeMarco, by the way, is the standout defender I think I would class as a must-have, because he's 5 million. And we know, if you watch Serie A, you'll know how good he is in attack. He'll play as a wing-back. And he's somehow...
Mate.
cheaper than Bastoni and Di Lorenzo.
Oh, mate, he's so good. He's got such a sweet strike on him. Like, I love watching him. Van Dijk on penalties. I've seen this a couple of times.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I think there's a good chance. There's a chance he'll be on pens, but we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let's not get carried away yet. We don't know that. Like, I've seen a few people saying Van Dijk's going to be on penalties, and I find it hard to believe, given the amount of attacking talent on that pitch, that Van Dijk's stepping up for all the pens.
Also, how many pens do Holland get outside of a shootout where you don't get points in fantasy? Sure. Might not get one all tournament. I feel like they're on pens is way. I've said it before, and when we talk about FPL, it's too big a thing for me. Like Jorginho, I've not considered Jorginho in my team yet. Loads have picked Jorginho because he's probably on pens. It's like, probably won't get one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on away from chips. Let us know your chip strategy in the chat, guys. Seeing some new faces in the chat, which is wicked. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. This is where it gets interesting. I've just highlighted the points that differ from FPL. So you get an extra point for goals outside the box. Do you like it, Dean?
Love it. Absolutely love it. Bruno Fernandes, eat me up.
You get 3 points for player of the match. So there's no moaning about the BPS or bonus point system was rubbish because that player got Sky Man of the match. So in this instance, there's no bonus points, but UEFA give an official player of the match. It's not what the TV comment is, what UEFA give, and it's just one player getting 3 points. Do you like it?
Is this typically someone that's just really famous and they want them to be player of the match?
Yeah, it's who they'll do the post-match interview with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is another reason to make sure you have got some like star quality aspect, because they're the ones that will win this award as long as they score.
Yeah. +1 for 3 ball recoveries. This will this actually isn't just defensive players. It will benefit defensive players more, but wide forwards can recover the ball if they're tracking back. So it's the players that are defensively astute, pretty much. Which I love. Do you? I mean, we never pick DMs in FPL. Maybe now we can pick some DMs.
Yeah, exactly. Like Declan Rice or someone might actually become more pickable if you know that they're getting starting to get forward as well, but their actual defensive work is going to actually start to count, and maybe becomes a better pick.
Yeah, exactly that. I love this one. You don't get an assist if someone scores a pen and you've won the penalty, but you do get +2, a point less than an assist for winning the pen. But then it doesn't matter if they win or not.
Rightly so.
If they have to score or not.
Rightly so. They've got the moment, and you can just celebrate it. You don't have to worry about some flop stepping forward to take that kick. It doesn't matter. The only disappointment is Raheem Sterling's not going to the Euros, because we'd have all been picking him.
True. The good thing is about winning a pen also is if the same player wins a penalty and then scores a penalty, they get points for both those scenarios, because they've still done the job and won their pen, which again is, I think, a fair way of doing it.
That's true.
So Harry Kane wins the pen, scores the pen. You're getting big points. That's 6, plus you're getting man of the match for that. -1 for conceding a penalty, regardless of the outcome. Again, I like that. Let's punish defenders for being sloppy. When a goal is scored from solo run or dribble, no assist is given. So if, for example, defender passes it to Chiesa. Let's use an Italian example. Chiesa picks the ball up from a 3-yard pass on the halfway line, does a madness to go past 4 men and score a goal. You can't get an assist for that, and rightly so.
Yeah, that is rightly so. I'm glad that's done.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's move away from points. So they are the headlines. Let us know if there's points you like or dislike in the chat, guys, and please do hit those buttons. I think it's time though that we see our teams, which I'm very excited about. Dean, how long have you spent tinkering, and how many changes do you reckon you'll be making?
I'm definitely making changes. So, I mean, I've probably spent half hour putting this team together just to make sure that it was relatively safe. And I did this really before looking at any other teams. So I hadn't been interfered with by any other person's thoughts. I just picked a team that I thought, right, what would I pick as a basic team here? And just put it all out there, made sure it fit in the budget. Yeah. Now, since I picked this team, I've started to reflect on it, and I'm like, okay, well, Dani Olmo was really just a 7.5.
I love that pick.
It's up in the air. It could be a good pick. I've got to be convinced that he's definitely playing.
Yeah.
But it could be a good pick. But if it's not, then to be honest, what I'll be doing in that Dani Olmo situation is dropping him down to Jorginho and taking Yilmaz up to Olivier Giroud, so that I've got Giroud and Mbappe in a group that they're going to win, and I don't have to worry which of those is scoring the goals. One of those is probably going to be top goal scorer at the tournament, and if I've got them, to make sure that I've got them for when they get their 4-0 win or whatever it is in the group stage. I'm a bit concerned of missing out on that moment. But apart from that, I've just gone for, the reason I've got 2 Turkey players in there, they've got Georgia in their group, obviously. I mean, Arda Güler, I'd like to get him into the lineup. Not sure if I will or not, but we'll wait and see, because it's all about how the other players fare in their fixtures earlier on in the tournament. I'm not 100% sure I want Wirtz and Musiala. But again, I'm not sure which one is going to bang, and one of them is. So rather than be scared of missing it, I've gone for both.
Okay, Kai
Rudiger's
Havertz, you tempted or not?
No,
Instead,
I haven't been tempted at all. No,
you've never really been pro Kai. Well, you were in Germany, weren't you? But as soon as you moved to Chelsea, it killed it for you.
Yeah, no, I don't know about this.
He's going to start number 9 though, and he's cheap. He's a lot cheaper than Musiala. What is he? 7.5?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm concerned about how Germany even fare at this tournament. To be honest, I know I've got 3 German players in this team, and I've predicted that the semi-finals will be Germany, Portugal, and England v France. But they can be a bit flaky. I'm giving them home advantage here massively.
Yeah, me too.
The top end of their team, I do really like Germany. There's like 5-6 players in their team I really like, and then there's going to be the other 5 that I'm really, really not sure about. In goal, I've gone a bit random, really. Bayindir, Turkish goalkeeper, and Kerbal, the Swiss goalkeeper.
Okay.
Yeah,
They both starters, those two. I don't know much about.
Both starters, mate. Kerbal will be in goal.
Does Jan Sommer not play for Switzerland anymore?
I think Kerbal's playing. That's a good shout. But either way, if he don't play, then Bayindir will be playing. So, but Kerbal's obviously Dortmund's goalkeeper. So if it's not him, I just want 2 players. I was like, I want an £8.5 million budget on my goalkeepers. I don't want to be going to, I don't know who's the most expensive, Pickford and
Donnarumma's 6, Neuer's 6.
Donnarumma, Pickford. I think Lunin's quite a good pick, for Ukraine. I think that's quite a good pick. Everyone's saying someone will start. Well, we can change this. Don't worry. This is a draft done last night.
Your half an hour quick fire one.
Yeah, we're fine.
I say half an hour like it's lengthy. Half an hour for a draft is nothing. I just might add.
But the point around it's the price points, and this is the type of goalkeeper that I'm going to be looking for. Somebody that's in a group that has reasonable potential. I went to Switzerland straight away because I was like, do you know what? They got Scotland and Hungary in their group. There's definitely potential there. Obviously, I've overlooked some, but the fact I think Switzerland will have a reasonably good tournament because they're just hard to beat. I think Switzerland will get out of that group, to be honest. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to go on goalkeepers. I'm not in this first game week going for like the top goalkeepers because I think there'll be better value and open up some funds elsewhere. FPL Ferro, we're essentially just picking our teams just from one match week if you're using wildcard in match week. And that's exactly what you said.
Yeah, my team very obviously looks like it's set for match day 1 only. For example, I've got no England players in my team and everyone's like, oh, you always hating on England. Well, no, like I will definitely have Harry Kane when he probably for match day 2 and 3, but I don't feel like I need him match day 1 because I think there's better options because that's how I'm picking my team. I'm going effectively 4-3 hits. Dean's slightly different. Like Dean might not use the wild card match day 2, and therefore he's picking teams he likes for the group stages, like his Turkey players. He's got in there because they've got a couple of plum fixtures. Dean, talk to us a little bit about Turkey. Not many will know about these guys on your bench. Yilmaz, we don't know if he'll start, but he's very cheap. He did start against Italy in a friendly the other day, but I think he's only got a couple of starts for Turkey, so he'll probably be an impact sub. Highly regarded kid though, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're in a group with Portugal, Czech Republic, and Georgia.
2 wins in there for Turkey, I reckon.
Look, typically this team is a nation where emotions run high, can often get the better of them. But at the moment, they've got a really exciting young squad coming through, and look, they'll still have disappointing results along the way. They're not the finished product yet, but they've got a blend of talent in here that is really exciting, to be honest. And like their midfield options, they're going to have Çalhanoğlu playing who's going to be the deepest lying midfielder probably, who's just had an unbelievable season with Inter Milan. He believes he's the best DM in world football,
and he's on pens for Turkey.
And he's on pens. Yeah. They've got options alongside him, but probably be Erkan Koçu, likely to be anyway, I think. Who was at Benfica. And Arda Güler, who's obviously joined Real Madrid, bright young thing, 19. Like, they're really excited about these players. Then you've got players like Yilmaz who have breakthrough potential. There's players here that a lot of the casual watching world don't know that much about, but are all pretty well established at their level of football or are breaking through as proper stars. And that's what is exciting about them. And look, Vincenzo Montella's their manager,
Yeah.
and obviously an Italian, so you know a lot about him. Now, I was saying that sometimes they get too passionate, it goes a bit too far. Now, he's a bit of a hothead himself, so I don't know how he's going to deal with this. But
don't go hire an Italian manager if you want to chill that team out.
Yeah, that's what's going to be most interesting. But they've got a really good chance of getting out of this group.
I think they could win 2 games. I was worried last Euros when Italy faced last Euros. I feel like Turkey were tipped as the dark horses for many, myself included. And I was worried Italy are in a group with them, but they didn't have a good tournament. But they've definitely got the squad there on paper, and I'm backing them to, well, definitely finish second in their group. So I love that, and a few in the chat agreeing there with a couple of your shouts there. Like it a lot.
Yeah. Basically home games for Turkey. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the Turkish contingent in Germany is going to be huge, and more than that is they're actually expectant and excited. Now that could go the other way because as the result of that, there's some pressure on these lads, but they're not burned, some of them, by past burdens. So I think that might be something that goes for them. Peter says Austria is his pick for the tournament as a surprise, and Leipzig's Baumgartner will be in the team by game week 2. Yeah, it's a good shout. It's a good shout for sure. Austria are a team that not many people are talking about, and that's largely because people look at their group in Group D and think that France and Holland will just breeze it. Now, I do expect France to top the group, but I think that the second place can open up for sure, and Austria have got possibilities of getting in there.
Nice. Let's have a quick look at my team as well. Luke says Hungary dark horses. Wow, I didn't see that one coming. Dean, because I've spent so long looking at my team, there's a couple of cheat code picks here, which I think will make their way into your team. I know you're going to go differential, but just to give you, okay, so ignore the bench and the order here, guys. No fancy graphics for my team, but that will come. Dean's been given a priority today. Mittelstadt. I've probably made butchered the pronunciation there.
Right,
is that right? So the German left back, he's 4 million and he's going to start. Yeah. He's 4 million. Like, I don't care how good he is. Don't care how many ball recoveries he gets. He's 4 million entry point to the German back line. Same with DeMarco at 5. Like, they're just 2 you have to have. And then Cambiasso, if I could find 0.5 million, I'd probably have Buongiorno in, who's going to start 4.5 versus Cambiasso's 4, who is 50-50, maybe 60% likely. Okay. Frimpong, I'm just hoping he plays in the front 3 because Koeman has hinted at the fact that it could be Frimpong and Dumfries down that right-hand side. You go, I go. And João Cancelo, he's expensive. He's 6 million, but I don't really fancy Portugal ever for clean sheets. But Cancelo offers you clean sheet hope and massive upside potential. During the groups, he was one of the chief creators still in that team. I definitely want to cover Belgium in a big way, and I want to cover Portugal in a big way. So Cancelo helps cover the lack of no Ronaldo alongside Bruno Fernandes, who Dean's also got. I could go Dalot, and Ofcor has said what about Dalot. There's just a little bit more competition for the second fullback slot. All these guys can play either side. Like Cancelo can play both sides, Dalot can play both sides, but there's a couple of other Portuguese fullbacks that could get in ahead of Dalot. At the moment, I'd say Dalot and Cancelo are likely starters, but we know Cancelo is locked. Dalot simply isn't locked. As the following comment comes in, Dalot might not even be a starter. Bang on. For what it's worth, I think he probably will, but I'm not willing to take that risk. When we move into the midfield, Dean, we both got Florian Wirtz. We're backing him for big tournaments, and he gives you a captaincy option match day 1. The 2 midfielders exactly I'm not sure about. Dean, give me your take on this. Chanlogu and Xavi Simons. They're the 2 that could move. Currently in my team, since I sent this, I've tweaked it to Højbjerg, who's 5.5, and Trossard, who's at 8. So I could go for like a 7 and a 6.5 or a 5.5 and an 8. They're the 2 positions in this entire team that are seeing a ton of rotation for me, the mid-price midfielders.
Okay. The thing with Çalhanoğlu is like he's a nice pick to have to come in on June the 18th off the bench if others haven't performed, because he's got a big upside, and it's the best fixture you could hope for that team. Like, this the other thing that I think is going for Turkey, the fact that they've got Georgia in that first game. Georgia very unfancied, obviously. Maybe they cause a surprise, you never know. But you've got to target games like that, and by having that option on the bench, you could always save your game week. So Çalhanoğlu, I've got Xavi Simons. I don't know, mate. I mean, I've seen him have brilliant games. I've seen him been unproductive in games. I don't
will he
have
start? Because I'm not sure he starts.
I don't know that he will,
especially with Frimpong potentially moving into a. I know it's different position, but Frimpong could affect Xavi. There's just one fewer attackers if it's Frimpong and Dumfries down the right.
Yeah, he feels like a differential pick that could go wrong. Obviously,
you prefer Trossard?
I think I prefer Trossard. Yeah, I think. Because even with Trossard, you know that you're getting an impact. Like Trossard, you're getting basically the Arsenal version. Like, whether he's starting or coming on a sub, he's got the same impact pretty much. So you're in for good returns.
Yeah, and he should start for Belgium. Trossard, like, it should be a front three of De Bruyne, Trossard, and Lukaku. Like, it means
exactly.
And Doku may be out wide, but the likes of the Ketelaere aren't likely to start.
No, and obviously Belgium playing Slovakia. It's a nice fixture.
It's a really good fixture.
Really nice fixture. Just saying what people are saying actually on Simons. Getty says Simons has no returns for Netherlands in 8 games. I mean, he's only 21. Let's give this lad a little bit of credit. But obviously, still, you get other 21-year-olds obviously returning in international football. But Danny B says Simons is locked for me. So.
Controversial. It's just covering Holland, I guess, because it's a good fixture, Holland v Poland.
This is the problem. Like, Netherlands are just like they're impossible to predict.
Does Depay and Gakpo start? Probably one, but not both.
I can't predict their lineup. I don't highly rate their manager. I don't trust this team to be unified. I can imagine that there are headlines of a team spat by week 2.
Oh yeah.
Anything could happen. On the flip of that, they could go and run to get them to the semi-final because they've got really good quality in the team. So it's impossible to know. It's game week 1, so I guess you could.
I'm going Højbjerg. I'm going Højbjerg and Trossard, I think.
Yeah.
In those two midfields. Højbjerg's 5.5, and it's like, if he doesn't play well, you bench him.
You best bench him, yeah.
And Denmark have got a good fixture, and he's actually been picking up some attacking involvement, taking returns of late in the friendlies, which is strange from him. Yeah. He's better for Denmark. So that's the midfield. Bruno, we don't need to speak about. Bruno's form in the groups has been sensational. He's so good for Portugal. De Bruyne, same again. You know what you're getting, and it's just targeting that fixture. So Trossard, De Bruyne, Lukaku. That is triple Belgium attack for me versus Slovakia. Lukaku's only 9 million. He's been underpriced.
But
I think he could get the golden boot because the points you get in the group, the goals you get in the group stages are where the golden boot is won. And for me, Lukaku could rack up big goals in the group. Same as Ronaldo.
I spoke to a friend of his the other day because I was trying to find out he's obviously going to make a transfer this summer.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, look, the thing to remember is like he's got a Euros here and he's got a great platform and he's so desperate to eat up this tournament. He's really hungry for it. So he said, I wouldn't rule out the fact that he does so well in the next couple of weeks that suddenly there are other teams outside of Napoli or Fenerbahce actually looking to sign him. And that will be the aim. Obviously help Chelsea get their £38 million as well by the end of the month. But yeah, there's a lot going for Lukaku. He's playing for a move here, but also playing. This is his last, he's the leader of that Belgian team. Like, he's got so much respect within those players. De Bruyne is like the captain, but Lukaku is the leader, is how it's always talked out to me. Like, everyone kind of idolizes Lukaku in that Belgian team as they come through. And he takes a lot of responsibility and a lot of pride in that. And with the ammunition that he's going to be supplying it with, yeah, he could have such a good tournament. I actually really hope he does.
Me too.
I really want him to do well. But the fact that his first 2 games are Slovakia and Romania, I feel silly really for overlooking it, to be honest, because
I think you'll get him in your team after what you just said.
I mean, I might. But as I said before, I've been considering Giroud. I think it's 8 million. I actually did look to get Lukaku. My first thought was, can I downgrade Olmo to Jorginho and get Lukaku? That's how I got.
Okay.
I
Well,
was
you've
like, oh,
got
we're missing out.
Rudiger to Mittelstadt, saves you a couple of
Yeah,
mil.
that's true. Yeah, I could easily do that. Yeah.
He's only 15% owned, Lukaku, as well. Like 15%
Well,
owned.
people
Harry
think he's
Kane is
crap.
47.
People think he's no good,
English
mate.
fans won't pick him.
People
English
think
fans
he's
won't
not a
pick
good
him.
player, and
Yeah.
he's got this reputation that goes before him, and it's ridiculous. Another reason why I want him to see him do well, but I think he also didn't play. Belgium played a friendly last week, and I don't think he played in it. So
Yeah, I
maybe
think he came
maybe
off
people
or he
saw
didn't
that.
play. You're right, but then he did
Mm.
play against Luxembourg 2 nights ago and scored
He
a
scored
couple.
twice, didn't he?
Yeah, Trossard
Mm.
got the other. Trossard, I think, maybe even played 90. 15% owned. Lukaku got more goals in qualifying than any other player. 14 goals in qualifying versus Ronaldo's 10 and Mbappe's 9. Yeah, love Lukaku for the first couple of game weeks, match days.
Yeah.
Mbappe is a player you can either have instead of Kane, but probably not alongside unless you're making big cuts elsewhere. So for me, it was Kane or Mbappe match day 1, and I'm just going to say Mbappe edges it for match day 1. That might not be the case in match day 2 or 3. I think match day 2 he got Holland, Mbappe. So
Yeah, he has,
maybe I go without Mbappe for match day 2. But Mbappe's in, and then Scamacca, I think we have to talk about because he's going to lead the line for Italy. Like Scamacca's going to start.
And if you're going to have him, then it's the first game you want him for, obviously, because while I've questioned whether I trust Italy to even beat Albania, they should do. And if they do, then he should be scoring probably. So that's how you look at it. I mean, I don't have a great insight as to what his international record is like.
Bad.
Yeah, I imagined it was. But
mainly off the bench, but bad.
Yeah. So in that, why do you trust him? What is it that makes you
believe?
Just
his end of season form. Fratana has been sensational, and Italy will get chances against Albania, and he will be the starting 9. So it's not necessarily a case of him being brilliant. It's just the opposition, and the fact that it's Albania. He's in form. Chiesa will provide. Barella, if he plays, will provide. The wing backs will provide. There's going to be chances galore, I think. Like Chiesa, even last night, I think he created 4 chances.
Right.
Fratesi,
1-0.
Yeah, 1-0, and the assist was Chiesa. Fratesi last night created 3 chances. Like these guys will, and Bosnia is similar opposition, you could argue, to Albania. So I'm just backing Scamacca in match day 1. I won't in match day 2 and 3. Against Croatia and Spain, I wouldn't be surprised if Italy failed to score, but surely they score versus Albania.
Yeah.
So the other 3 I'm going for, guys, get your questions in. I feel pretty locked on this team. The positions that will change are Xavi Simons and Chanlogu. At the moment, I've actually got Højbjerg and Trossard in that slot. And then Cambiasso, if I can find 0.5, he'll be out for Buongiorno just because I get the guaranteed start. I'd love a 5.5 Di Lorenzo because he will start and could play wing back. But for me, something has to give. You have to find the funds. But double Italy defense is a great shout if you are on the strategy of a free hit for the first 4 weeks, because this Albania fixture, the bookies only think 2 teams will keep a clean sheet in the round 1 fixtures. They think Germany will keep a clean sheet and they think Italy will. And that's, according to the bookies' odds, only those 2 teams are backed at 50% or higher to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick one from Lewis. He says, is Dovbyk being overlooked? Yeah, we haven't talked about him, obviously. Going to be up front for Ukraine. You actually have a really nice forward line, Ukraine. They've got a lot of excitement around that top line. And the chances that he's going to be presented with does make him an interesting pick for sure. I love Dovbyk. Like, I've been wanting Fulham to sign Dovbyk as Mitro's replacement. Obviously, he was at Girona last season and ripped it up. But the players around him, you got Shankov, Sudakov, and Mudryk, and then you got Dovbyk as the top asset. I agree, Lewis. I think that he could be a good pick. And if you're going to pick him, game week 1 is the time to take a chance on him because they've got Romania. So, yeah, if you're looking for that third forward, I do think that Dovbyk is a good one to be considering.
Yeah, I like that shout as well. He's cheap. Mudryk is around 7 too. Guys, we'll come off my team and we'll go full screen, but also we can show you our mini league. There is a Chasing Green Arrows mini league. We'll also put some questions out there. But in the minute, at the bottom of the screen, our mini league will here. Make sure you are you're joining that mini league. Be loads of fun. See how you come up against me and Dean. Oh, look at that fancy graphic. There we go.
Oh, look at it. What do you think of our graphics, everyone? Let's give it a big round of applause to the people that put this into place. And I know that our designer has pulled an all-nighter quite literally to get us into place, hasn't he?
Yeah. So last minute. We've only had 3 weeks to prep. He was up all night. We haven't spoken about England or Serbia really, but oh, look at the fancy graphics. That's worth a subscribe. Mitrovic, I think, is a good option. He's going to play out front with Vlahovic and Tadic. That's a good front three for Serbia. The reason I'm not going any English players is I think that could be a draw. I've gone 1-1 with Serbia, England.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't
tough
surprise
opponent,
me,
man.
There have been, obviously, there's been tournaments before when England have got off to slow starts, and based on the way that we've just played in the last week or so, it doesn't fill you with confidence. You would just imagine that we don't see that performance again. But Serbia are a really good, high energy team, physical, some really good technical players too, and you got link ups too within that setup of players that know each other so well. And ranks. Jack was doing our preview on Serbia, and he was like, Milinkovic-Savic and Mitrovic have been playing together. They know each other so well. That's dangerous. England obviously not going to be their best at the back. Like, that's another thing that puts me off picking Jordan Pickford, by the way. I'm concerned that we will score goals a lot. Not a lot, but
you'll concede goals, yeah.
Concede, yeah. You know, with Trippier and Gehi on that side, like, they've obviously had a couple of games to get to know each other, but it's all very new and not Luke Shaw and Maguire, which would have been much more locked up. FPL Mackham would like us to flash the mini league code up again.
And if probably leave it on. We'll stick it on.
Just leave it on. Actually, I'm going to actually join it right now while I remember, because I haven't got this one up.
Me too.
And I need to join it. So I'm going to join the Fantasy League right now.
See how many we can get in by the end of the show.
Yeah, let's do that. So everyone just take a second, get your phone out, and just whack in the code. And then in a second, I'm hoping that we have however many people are in this chat actually joining the league. So
if you want to know how to join a league on the app, on the home screen where you go overview, you can go view leagues, and then you can hit, do you have a league code to join? Click the join button. We got 8 members in. Oh, I'm already in because I made it. There we go.
How come you're in? Why are you looking so happy with a scarf in your emoji?
Oh yeah, it's like I'm top, but maybe because I'm the creator.
Oh, I'm
top. So I was the first person in. So I'm top, and then the bottom are all in blue. They're like chill.
Yeah, I'm like a loser who's at the bottom in light blue. Like I'm freezing.
Yeah. So well, mine's got Angelo as the name because it's my dad's name. Because it's my dad's UEFA account because I use it to get tickets.
Oh, right.
Because I have to use his Italian passport.
Which is my ranks. Which I'm called on ranks, but I don't know why it says that on here.
Oh, have you got Guru? So this is your UEFA account, Dean.
I've only used my UEFA account before to buy tickets. I don't know. Ticket Guru or something. I don't know what I was doing. Anyway, that's me. You know, it's me. It's San Diego Rifles. It's pretty clear. But yeah, get into there if you can. We've got 8 members at the moment, which isn't going to be very exciting, but I imagine we end up with at least a few hundred in there by the time this gets underway. We will put the league code in the description of this video as well, in big, bold font in the description of this video for every video we do on Chasing Green Arrows throughout the tournament. Janny's dad runs this league. Yes, he does, Ice G. He's not aware that he's got a UEFA account, but he does. Euro 2016, I think I needed his passport to get tickets. So I made it, yeah. Very good. We've got 17 in now. We're getting lively. There we go. If you've got any questions, get them in. We've got a minute left. I can't wait to see your team on Friday, Dean. So what we'll do, tomorrow's show, we can just flash up these teams again, or maybe we don't even talk teams. We actually talk about the teams playing and the assets we like from each of them. And then on Friday's show, we'll sort of lock in our teams. I think we're doing a morning show. So let's lock them in Friday morning, because it's not like FPL where we're going to be waiting on leaks and stuff. Like, other than the Germany game, and I don't think we've got players from Germany that they're like, Willie, won't he start? We know Verts is going to start. We know Michelstadt will start. Yeah, tonight we've got 2 interesting games because you've got the Netherlands playing against Iceland, so we'll find out a bit more about the Dumfries Frimpong
Very
thing and all
nice.
that sort of stuff. And Turkey are playing against Poland, so there's this team which we might want to start considering. We'll get a better idea. Can they overcome Poland? More though, what sort of chances have they created, and who was taking them? Czech Republic play against North Macedonia, but I don't think we need to worry too much about Czech assets. We'll keep an eye on it though, just in case there's anything else needs to be said. But yeah, so that we'll get onto that a bit more tomorrow.
Yeah, nice. We'll talk a little bit about the likes of Subotslai tomorrow because there's a few teams out there who have a talent. They're weaker teams that we're not backing, but they have a clear and obvious talisman, whether it's Sesko or Kvaratskhelia or Chanlogu or Subotslai. There's players that a bit like Gareth Bale when he plays for Wales. He's always been a good fantasy option, even though you might not back Wales to score many. When they do, you're like, it's Bale. And there's a few options out there. Lewandowski. Let's talk about some of those assets in tomorrow's show. So, guys, do stay tuned. We'll also talk about the big teams and the top 3 players in those teams. Dean, what time did we say we were going to do tomorrow? Is it
Oh, mate, you made a fancy schedule. You
know.
made a very good schedule, and you don't know, so that leaves me with almost no chance because the chance that I actually read the list in the first place is unlikely. It says Tuesday, 11th of June, 1 p.m.
There we go. There we go.
Same time tomorrow, folks.
And then Friday, I've gone for a morning one because that was it. Because the deadline, we need for catch-up views. We need a few hours breathing space.
True.
And
Friday's a big day. Tournament starts.
Yeah, and then the week after, mate, we get into. Oh no, it's the week after that from match day 4. We're doing 6 p.m. streams because we're getting into you being in San Diego.
Yeah, we are really getting towards there. So that'll be interesting once I'm doing these from a very different location.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I'll be sitting, but I hope I've got a nice little background. I hope that I need to speak to Tay, find out where I'm recording from. Make sure I've got some space.
Guys, make sure you hit the notification bell because throughout the Euros, we are going to do different time slots. There are times when like match day 2 finishes and we've got less than 24 hours till match day 3. So we'll want to fit a stream in. So hit the notification bell so you know absolutely when we're going live each and every match day, especially for those tight turnarounds. Guys, thank you for watching on your way out. Do hit the buttons. You know what they are. Like and subscribe. But for now, we're back tomorrow at 1 p.m. He's been Dean. I've been Janny, and we've been chasing green arrows.